And we are back. Welcome to my final thoughts videos for the Euros and the Copa Americas. The summer international tournaments are over, and this video is going to be all of my conclusions on what has been a very interesting summer of football. Now, before we get into it, we have some competition winners to announce, because over the course of the last few weeks, we have been running 3 competitions on this channel: a Euros Fantasy Football, and a Euros Predictor, and a Copa America Predictor for the full tournament. So today we're going to be revealing all 3 of those winners. So before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video. And a reminder to you guys that when it comes to Premier League Fantasy Football next season, we will be running that over on my second channel, which is the SO99 Gaming channel. So make sure you are subscribed to both this channel for all of your usual football predictions, but make sure you're also subscribed to SO99 Gaming, as that is going to be the new home of fantasy football for me going into next season. Without any further ado, let's get started with announcing the winner of my Euro Fantasy Football League. And I'm pleased to announce that out of 452 people, thank you so much for having so many people join the league, but out of 452 people, the winner was Manaldinho. It was a close-fought battle throughout the tournament between Manaldinho and Joseph Robinson. It was back and forth between the rounds, but ultimately it was Nico Williams who proved to be the difference. Manaldinho captained them yesterday. He got 20 points for him, and unfortunately for Joseph Robinson, who I know will be watching this because they have been commenting on a lot of my videos, they sadly did not pick Nico Williams in their final day squad, and ultimately that has cost him the title. I'm sure he'll be back for the FPL next season, and best of luck to him for that. But it is Manaldinho who will be taking the acclaim for this tournament. I myself, as you can see here, I ended up finishing 63rd, which, to be honest, again, out of 452 people, I will take 63rd. And look, I went on England. Of course I did. I was never going to not go for England on the final day. Rather annoyingly, I did put Nico Williams on the bench, and an extra 10 points would have seen me get significantly higher than 63rd. But considering I finished a solid 60-odd points or 50-odd points behind Manaldinho, I can't be too disappointed with my overall performance. 63rd for me. Final congratulations to Manaldinho. Like I said, remember, FPL content will be coming up for you in the coming weeks. As soon as it goes live, we will have the new league created for you. The initial video will be posted both here and on the gaming channel. But like I said, going forward, fantasy football will be available on the gaming channel. That concludes my Euros of fantasy football for this competition. Let's move into the Predictor League to see who topped those. So continuing with the Euros, these were the 12 people who entered my Euro Predictor League for this tournament. Sadly, again, I was only good enough for mid-table. It was 6th place for me. Obviously, I went for France to end up winning the overall tournament. England, of course, I had losing in the semi. Spain, I had losing to Germany. Of course, it was Spain who ended up beating Germany and going on to win it. So I can't really, again, complain too much about only scoring 31. But the winner of the Euro Predictor was Desmond, who was accurately able to predict that it was going to be Spain who ended up winning the European Championships. He also had them beating France in the final, but fair play to them. They got England in the semis. They had Netherlands in the semis as well, but Spain ending up getting the victory, which is ultimately the reason why Desmond has got themselves the victory here. So again, congratulations to them. We will have our Premier League full season predictor video and league available for you again once this launches on FUTMob for the new season. So keep your eye out for that one on this channel. And then finally, we have the Copa America full tournament predictor, where you will see it was actually me who ended up getting the victory for this one. Only 5 people entered, sadly, which is a little disappointing. Hopefully, like I said, we'll get more for the Premier League predictor next season. But I did, of course, accurately predict Argentina to end up getting the win. And also, most critically, I did predict Uruguay to beat Brazil. Sadly, that didn't actually end up happening at the correct round, so I wouldn't have got any points for it. But I did get that prediction right. And also, critically, I was able to get Canada getting to the semi-final to face Argentina. And I think that was probably what got me over the line. But ultimately, all round, my Copa America predictions, both in terms of the predictions themselves and the full tournament predictions, went pretty damn well for me. So I'm very happy about that. I will accept my victory in this one. And hopefully, like I said, you guys will be able to get yourselves involved in the Premier League full season predictor when that is released in a few weeks' time. Let's now finally then move on to my final thoughts on both the Copa America and the Euros before we say a final goodbye to them tomorrow in my Team of the Tournament video. And then, of course, it'll be all eyes on the Olympics and the return of club football from that point onwards. So I think what I will do is I will start with my wrap-up of the Copa America, since that is what we've just been speaking about in terms of the predictions. And to be honest, the disappointment I've had with the Copa America is, firstly, it was in America, so it was on during the night, so I didn't get to see any of the actual games live, which is always a shame, but I was able to see the highlights. And in terms of a football tournament, I think the football that was shown was really, really entertaining and arguably better than the Euros in terms of actual drama, certainly in the knockout stages of the competition. But ultimately, this tournament is going to be massively overshadowed by the poor running of the tournament by America, because there are a lot of incidents, most notably, of course, the semi-final between Uruguay and Colombia, and then the final last night between Argentina and Colombia, which resulted in the game being delayed for nearly 2 hours, then half-time being extended by an extra 15 minutes, and just utter chaos and really poor tournament organising from America, which is really concerning, because when you think in just 2 years' time, the World Cup will be being hosted in America in these stadiums. Now, obviously, they've got 2 years to get it right. They have got another massive tournament that they are hosting next summer, which will be the inaugural Club World Cup, featuring a full actual roster of tournament teams going into it. So massive pressure on them to deliver in that regard as preparation for the World Cup in 2 years' time. But it's a real shame because, like I said, I think what we actually saw on the pitch at this Copa America was a really, really entertaining tournament. Obviously, a massive renaissance in Colombian form. Messi winning yet another major tournament. And some of the stories, obviously Canada and Venezuela and a couple of others that really shone in this tournament and played some really, really good football. But ultimately, this tournament will always be remembered for the crowd trouble, the violence, and the poor running of the tournament by America. So a real shame to see that actually be the overarching emotions coming out of the Copa America. But it was a good tournament, and it was good to see the North American and South American sides battling it out. And hopefully that is the format for them going forward. And hopefully it does encourage the likes of Canada and America to bolster their rosters even further to make them more competitive at these tournaments in 4 years' time. But we'll see. Hopefully the Americans can get it right for the World Cup in 2 years' time. And obviously, more pressingly, hopefully they can get it right for the Club World Cup next summer. As for the Euros, it was probably the best group stages of a major tournament I've ever seen. Absolute non-stop drama, apart from the England games, throughout. Absolute chaos, some of the matches. We had goalkeepers coming up for corners and late equalisers and winners and big teams getting knocked out and put into different sides of the draw. Phenomenal to watch. Some of the best, like I say, arguably the best group stages to a major tournament I've ever seen. It then did sort of tail off a bit in the group stages. I think there was obviously late drama in some of the knockout games, but the overall standard of the matches really did seem to drop off in the knockout stages, as some of the big teams, most notably, of course, England and France, really stifled the creativity of some of the other teams that they were coming up against. And a lot of games were just sort of 0-0, 1-1, going to penalties, where obviously Spain were absolutely fantastic, and their match with Germany in the quarter-final, most people said at the time, realistically should have been the final. And it was no surprise that it was the winner of the Spain-Germany match that ended up winning the competition, because they were the two sides that were playing the most, what you would consider actual football in the tournament. And obviously Spain were the deserving winners, but I really do think it was a bit of a shame how the actual knockout stages of the tournament went. Again, in terms of the running of the tournament, it went off pretty well. I think Germany did a very good job of hosting the tournament. But yeah, like I say, it's just a shame that the overall entertainment value certainly dropped off as we sort of went through each round. And I think the football kind of did suffer for it a little bit towards the end. But thankfully, it was the best footballing team that won the tournament, albeit at the expense of the team which I obviously wanted to win, which was England. But I think Euro 2024 will be remembered as a good tournament and will be remembered for the brilliant football that Spain played and obviously some of the youngsters that they brought in. Obviously, Lamine Yamal being the star at 16 years old, turning 17 the day before the final. And yeah, overall thoughts of the tournament was it was a very good tournament. So fingers crossed we can see some good football going forward. Like I said, on this channel, we will be covering the Olympics coming up for you in the next couple of weeks. We'll also be doing a few bits of pre-season in terms of Manchester United, because obviously I'm a Manchester United fan. I will still cover all of Manchester United's pre-season games. But thank you very much, as always, for all the amazing support you've given this channel over the course of these two tournaments. Long may it continue over the rest of this summer, and then, of course, into the new season, which is only 4 weeks away, which is crazy to think about. The new season starts in just 4 weeks' time. The Champions League and Europa Conference League qualifiers have actually already started. So for some teams, the season is already live. So club football is back now. That's going to be the focus of this channel going forward once again, as always. So thank you very much for all your continued support. Let me know all your final thoughts on these two tournaments down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching once again. I'll see you very soon.